It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And welcome to Car con Carne. I'm James Van Alstyne, and some programming notes before we launch into this interview. Later tonight, this is a twofer tonight. Later tonight, I'll be talking with the owners of the restaurant Sfera. It is a place that does Sicilian street food. We'll learn all about that. That's happening tonight, live recording at 9:30. Then tomorrow, two more podcasts. Early in the day, 6 p.m., I'll have a preview of the JBTV Revolution Television Virtual Festival. It's happening this weekend. Some major acts will be part of this, and I'll have some pretty familiar names from the Chicago music scene talking about that Thursday at 6. Also tomorrow night, comedian T. Murph. He's part of the Zanies Virtual Festival happening on Valentine's Day. You can see him in the TV show Woke on Hulu. He'll be on tomorrow night. And also another podcast note, separate from Car con Carne, tomorrow on the 101 WKQX, or in that universe, John Manley and I will talk about this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees in the History of Alternative podcast for 101 WKQX. That business aside, I am joined tonight by the owners, the creators, the Imagineers behind Freshie, the tequila seltzer. It is Paige and Ryne Ismenger. Nice to meet you both. Nice to see you as well lit as you are.
So nice to meet you, James, and thank you so much for having us on your wonderful podcast. We're excited to be here.
You're too kind. I love having entrepreneurs on, and especially spirit entrepreneurs. Let's just start with what Freshie is. Can you describe, this is a seltzer. Describe what we're drinking when we open a Freshie.
Yeah, so Freshie is the world's first organic tequila seltzer. It's non-GMO. We do everything in our distillery using solar power. We try to essentially give you the most delicious drink that's putting health first and the earth first. So that's kind of the quick synopsis of it. But most importantly is it's delicious.
Yes, and we've always been tequila drinkers. We love to sip on tequila. So we're like, let's bring all of our passions into one and can this up. So we're excited to be introducing Freshie to the world.
See, it's long been my contention that people just don't know how to drink tequila. I think when you shoot it, you're missing the point.
I know. And everyone always thinks that tequila reminds them of that bad night in Mexico on their spring break. Yep. And that's what we always get. That's the first thing. They're like, oh, tequila. I'm like, trust me, it's not what you think it is.
Or the legend of the worm. Like everyone's like, oh, you're going to drink the end of the bottle and the tequila worm's in there, which that is a whole different can of worms.
So everyone has those bad memories of tequila on spring break. Did this spring from a good memory on spring break for you? Like, what was the origin?
I could say yes to that one.
Well, we'll give you a little background on that, but not so much. Ryan will explain a little bit about it.
Well, essentially, it kind of started not because we don't like tequila or anything like that. We love tequila, and that's kind of where the problem started. Was we were in Mexico. We were there with our friends and family. We're like on a 10-day trip. And now this is day like 7 or 8. And the first few days in Mexico, we're drinking margaritas, taking tequila shots, drinking Pacificos, doing our thing. And then come this 7th or 8th day or whatever day it was, I wake up and the music's not going. No one's like walking around, hanging out.
And I cannot get out of bed.
Everyone's kind of like wilted flowers. I'm like, all right, I got to get Paige back on the party bus here. Otherwise, we're all going to go downhill for the rest of the trip. And so I saw like a case of sparkling water, and Mexico has the best limes, a big bowl of fresh limes right there, agave nectar, and a big bottle of tequila. So I'm like, I got to get her hydrated, and I have to sneak some booze back in her system. So
hair on the dog, right?
So
exactly.
I got it on ice, got it nice and cold with the sparkling water, poured some tequila in there, and then squeezed some fresh lime, a little drizzle of agave nectar. And I gave it to her, and I made one for myself, not really knowing what I was doing. I just was like, I got to get hydrated, and I need to kick this hair of the dog. So basically, all of our friends were like, well, you guys seem to be feeling better. Make me one of those. Like, let me get one of those tequila waters. And then from there, I pretty much went home and never stopped making these by hand, like in the backyard at barbecues and stuff. And
so what you're saying is it's medicinal.
It
Your
is.
product.
Yeah, we do say
We
that
tell
too
this
sometimes.
to everybody. We're like, not only is it stimulant, but it's also medicinal, and it's a proven fact that it is.
We're not allowed to say that though. Freshie's not saying
Of
that,
course.
but look up the
course.
John Hopkins studies. There's stuff about red wine and tequila being some of the best alcohol for you.
So you get back home, you're making this recreationally. At what point did you think, I think this could be a business?
Well, it took a lot of Freshies being made. Actually, we got married about 3 years ago in Mexico, and we had a big Freshie bar. And our menu, when we were picking it all out, we had all this liquor on there. And I was like, cross that out. We just need a lot of tequila. And the people that were helping us plan our wedding were literally like, you don't need this much tequila. I'm like, trust me, we do. So we ended up flying through all the tequila. And then when we came home, all the family parties, Ryan was just MIA because he was making them for everybody. And everyone was like, not only am I having the best night on this drink, but also I'm waking up the next day with no hangover or anything. So then all of a sudden, like a light bulb went off and we're like, you know what? Not only do our friends and family need to enjoy this, but the rest of the world needs to enjoy a Freshie. So that's when we just set out to see what we can do and how we can actually bring Freshie to life and make our dream a reality.
So you've entered a market that just from the outside looking in seems highly competitive. The seltzer market seems like there's no room to breathe at this point. How do you wedge your way through this?
You know, we actually feel like we didn't jump in a crowded seltzer market or category per se. We kind of feel like we created our own category. Freshie is spirit-based with organic ingredients, so we are really unlike the rest of the industry. So we are not another Me Too product. We are health-conscious consumers. Whenever we eat, we've always ate organic. We've always read labels and stuff like that. And it's always been like a running joke with our family is that we might have not had a pot to piss in, but we always bought organic. So we were like, why should that stop there? Why should we stop at our food? You know, we work out, we're health conscious, but we like to have fun.
And we're not denying that we like to drink. So it's like, why not, if we're going to buy, organic apples, we might not buy 6 organic apples. Maybe we only buy 2 of them because they're expensive. But why stop with your food when you know you're going to drink and party and have fun? So why not try to combine both of those lifestyle, variables into one? And
also a lot of the seltzers that are out there, I'm not trying to name like our competitors or anything, but a lot of them are malt based. So they're made with fermented sugar. With a lot of ingredients, and legally they don't have to list those ingredients on their cans or packaging according to TTB. Now we take pride in that we want to list it on the front of our can and on the back and all of our packaging. We really are the world's first organic tequila seltzer. So yes, we are in the crowded seltzer market per se, but we are paving our own lane.
And to be honest, when we first, started making these, it was before the birth of the seltzer revolution or whatever you want to call it. But we originally were calling these sparkling tequila cocktails. And then through TTB laws or whatever, we went down the road of being a tequila seltzer. But so really, it was kind of a blessing that this seltzer revolution happened, because when we first started working on this as a brand and a drink, we're like, is this going to be something that we're going to sell directly to customers, or are bars and restaurants going to actually carry a tequila seltzer instead of just making it themselves, And so, the behemoths of White Claw and Truly and brands like that kind of did pave a way for the little guys like us to come stand out and be a unique brand that differentiates ourselves as organic and sustainable, and pretty much putting some of the stuff that we care about as people into this brand as a product.
So that situation it's the business cliche of the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yep.
That works to your advantage.
Analogy.
How long did it take to get the final product recipe right? How drunk did you get in that discovery process?
Boy. It took a long time, about 3.5 years in the making.
Yep.
It went from, being a dream of ours, but then at the same time, we didn't know where to go from there. We didn't have a distillery, and tequila is like champagne. It needs to come from Champagne of France. Well, tequila needs to come from Mexico, pretty much.
Yeah, the highlands of Jalisco.
So we didn't know where to start. We had to find a distillery that believed in everything that we believed in, and first and foremost was organic. And so when that happened and all the stars kind of aligned, it was like, okay, we have to do this. When we finally met our partners and our our distillery, and they believe in everything that we believed in, and they were already doing it prior to everything that like we wanted them to do. They were already doing it. And it's kind of funny because we always joke about here in the States, like, you know, anything good, like we have to market it. If you're organic, it needs to be like marketed or solar powered. Well, they're doing all these things, but on the down low, because they just want to do it. It's better for you. And they know that. And so they were already doing everything that, you know, we wanted them to do. So it was a perfect partnership that ended up being a dream of ours. We literally could not have even imagined it going any better than it has.
Can you hold up either one of the cans or that 4-pack to the camera?
Yeah.
I want people to see. It's such a fun, vivacious, kind of old school logo. I'm a fan of the packaging. It really, I mean, you're smart. It jumps off the shelf. It says, "Hello, I'm a beverage you should take a look at."
Yep.
Exactly. And that's kind of how Ryan and I are. We are very outgoing, energetic, loud people. And like
I'm not as loud as my wifey here, but
and like I said, with Freshie, how it all came about in Mexico, Ryan and I took our engagement photos in Sayulita. And there's always amazing, beautiful flags there. And they're so colorful and vibrant. And they literally brought so much energy out of us. And we took that inspiration. And when we were designing the packaging, we wanted those exact colors to then be on this packaging because we knew what it stood for. Like it just stood for fun, energetic, south of the border kind of feel. And with our designers, they just nailed our vision perfectly.
So the current climate, it's just so weird. We're in this awfully strange time. Looking ahead, if you can look ahead, where do you take the brand from here?
South, James. We are going south.
Because Illinois is obviously your key hub right now.
Yeah. This is our hometown. Paige is from Northbrook, and I'm from Northwest Indiana in the city. So I kind of grew up part country, part city. And so this is like our hometown. We wanted to launch this here. And just to get started here and then spread out from there. We obviously know that Freshie, when you first think of it as a brand and as a drink, coastal areas are hopefully going to be the hot spots for Freshie.
Palm trees. We love palm trees. We bring them everywhere we go. It doesn't matter if there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. But to be all real, we are planning going national within the next year. I would say 8 to 12 months. But first and foremost, in the next 3 to 4 months, we plan to go south and, start hitting those palm trees in that beautiful weather.
Yeah, it's all about distribution.
Yes.
That's right.
All right. So speaking of which, the hardest thing of doing a video or doing an audio interview is it's a tasteless. Well, that's always true, but you can't taste what we're talking about right now. So where can people find Freshie? Where can they consume it? Where can they melt this awful cold spell we're in with one of your seltzers?
So we are available on Drizzly. So we kind of dropped the ball. I wish I would have Drizzly got you a Freshie 4-pack, which we'll do after this, so you can try it yourself.
Love you.
But so you could on getfreshie.com, we have a Freshie finder. So if you don't want to do Drizzly, you could just type in your current location or let them grab your current location through Google. And then it'll show you all the locations near you, whether it's a restaurant or bar or a grocery store. So we're in about 250 locations around the Chicagoland area right now. Awesome. And that's growing by the day. We're kind of, we get reports at the end of the month, every month. So we're a little delayed on when we upload new locations. So it could be even more by now. But we constantly are uploading new locations to the website. And so you can just check it right there and find Freshie.
And we also have a lot of exciting restaurants that are starting to begin carrying Freshie as well. We're going to be in a little over 100 on-premise locations come March. And then we have a lot of things planned for this spring for on-premise. So we are really excited about the expansion of Freshie and just getting into not only our friends and family, but to all of you guys' hands.
I love it. I love the entrepreneurial spirit you have here. And that's the secret. If you actually love what you're doing, you find a way to make it work.
Absolutely.
You both are all in on this. You're going to make this happen. You're already making it happen. So, all right. Freshie is the beverage. We will while away the rest of our winters drinking that. Paige and Ryne, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, James.
Thank you so much,
we appreciate you having us, and we can't wait to get you your first Freshie.
That's right.